So yesterday, we were discussing about the RCS. Okay. So RCS of the cone. So how it can be detected and what is the actual variation of the RCS with respect to the wavelength or diameter. That is whatever the at the back side of the cone. If you take like okay, so this is your backside footprint. Can exactly if you write it will be look like this, right? The cone. So now if you vary this diameter, so that is the actual diameter in wavelengths. So how much it is varying with respect to this, and whenever it is viewing, so in order to find out the RCS, whenever you incident at the point, so obviously the RCS will be less, and if you incident exactly at the footprint, the wave which is incident, so then your RCS will be comparatively it is greater. So now at any other angle with respect to that incident angle, so then the RCS will going to vary, and if you go on varying the diameter of this footprint, so it will be varied. The RCS of this cone it will be going to vary. So now this is the echo. So when the angular variation of the incident signal which is varied, so even it is calculated and measured, so both it is there and approximately it is nearly comparable, both measured and calculated. Okay, so as I discussed in the last class, there are two methods to measure the RCS practically. So bistatic RCS and monostatic RCS. Okay, so now we have, if any two antennas, say for example this is one horn antenna. Okay, so assume this as a horn antenna and this is another horn antenna. Okay, so now if something it is put so similar like a target kind of thing, so if it is this is a target, so now this will be acts as a transmitter and this will be acts as a receiver. So now if you transmit from this, so the wave which will be going to incident on this and it will reflect back to the receiver. So whenever you use these two antennas and this will be connected to the whatever the measuring device, so generally it will be VNA. Okay, so why it is echoing? Okay, so is it fine now? Is it fine now? Okay.
Right.
So now whenever you have the transmitter antenna and receiver antenna, so both if you are used separately for transmitting and receiving, and both you are connected to the VNA, that is vector network analyzer, for measuring the reflected signal, and whatever the power which will going to transmit, it will generated by the VNA. So now measuring this reflected signal, so you can estimate what is the transmission or whatever the reflection coming at the receiver side, and that measure with respect to transmitted power, we can estimate what is the actual RCS of this, the whatever the target or whatever the thing you have placed here. Okay, so this is bistatic RCS measurement when two antennas it is used separately. So now if the single antenna, if single antenna itself used for transmitter as well as receiver, so first time you will going to transmit the signal, so next time it will be going to receive the signal. So whenever you are transmitting, so receiver section will be off, and whenever it is receiving, the transmitting power will be off. So when you are receiving the signal, it will be measured, and even one port it will be connected here through the intermediate device, so that it will be acts as a switch while transmitting and receiving. So by measuring both transmitter power and received power, so we can estimate the RCS. So these are the two methods practically they will use for the measurement of RCS. So generally in any radar system, so this RCS is the very important parameter. So this RCS, it should be reduced in any of the device. Why it has to be reduced? So because this RCS, so if say for example, if anything which is considered as a target, or if any ship or aircraft, any device which is considered as a target, so for the enemy person, so which will going to give information uh, based on the reflected signal. So if this RCS, if it is more, so then the reflection of that signal will be more. So based on that you can estimate the size, shape and position of the target. So that's why this RCS should be reduced maximum times. So how we will going to reduce? Either whatever transmitted signal you have to absorb by the target, or it may be direct reflect the signal in other direction which is not required. Okay, that means, so whatever enemy transmit the signal, so if you want to reduce our or if you want to reduce the visibility of our device, so you need to either absorb that transmitted energy by the enemy, or you have to reflect other direction which is not measured by them. So that is the two methods you have to use to reduce the RCS. So if you reduce the RCS, then the visibility of the device or visibility of our whatever device, it will be going to reduce, so that you can you will be in the safer position. Or if we able to if your RCS is greater, and if it other person it is able to detect you, then you can able to, so the enemies can able to destroy it. So that's why in most of the radar system or military application, the RCS of the device or system, it should be reduced. Okay, so the many methods are there to reduce this RCS. So that using that methods, so we can reduce the RCS of the whole system or particular device. Okay, so now this is one example for the as we discussed. So this is for the cone, and even we can use the uh, some rod type of thing or any other type of thing for as a simple target. If you consider, you can use cone or sphere or any simple rod. So we can estimate what is the RCS of that with respect to its length, and whatever if you use in terms of the radial parameter, you can use the diameter. Okay, so now this is the RCS versus the diameter of different cones, like double backed cone, cone sphere, so rounded cone and circular ogive. So these are the different types of targets they have measured with respect to the diameter in wavelengths. Okay, whatever the frequency of operation you are doing, with respect to that frequency, they have to find out the diameter. And if you vary the diameter, so the RCS will be going to vary. And also here you can see the incidence. It is very much important whether you are perpendicularly incidence or as like, so as we discussed, whether you are if say for example this is a cone, so whether you are having the incidence at this point or whether incidence at this point, or if you are incidenting perpendicular to this, like that. So that decides the RCS, and it will vary with respect to this incidence. Okay, so now if you incident perpendicularly to the cone surface when theta equal to 90 minus alpha, so that means if you incident this one with respect to the x-axis, so wherever the angle measured alpha. Okay, so the cone half angle, so the if you take this cone and divide this as alpha, that is cone half angle. So then the radar section approximately that of a sphere, that if you incident at this point, that is if you incident the signal at the back footprint, so then it will look like a sphere only. Or if you incident any other position, so then according to that incident angle and the area which is intercepted by this cone, so the radar cross section will be measured. Okay, so the nose on the cross section of the cone sphere varies, but its maximum value approximately 0.4 lambda square. So as I said, so this point at nose, so the cross section will be varied, and the maximum we can get it as the 0.4 lambda square, and minimum we can get it as 0.01 lambda square. Okay, so with a wide range of half angles, so even we can increase this the area of this cone angle, and above the Rayleigh region you can able to detect the even RCS of that cone. Okay, so this we have discussed the different regions yesterday. So above the Rayleigh region means if you come to the midband region, so when the frequency is in microwave range, there also we can able to detect. So that is the, if you increase the even half angle of the cone. Okay, so now this you can see a typical measured in the PPI or polar indication, the range with respect to angle. So where the it will be measured, the cone sphere is measured with half angle of 12.5 degree. So you can see radius base, the base radius whatever we discuss here, the base radius is, so it is around 10.4 lambda. So that much big cone sphere we have measured, and this is the RCS, the measured RCS. So with respect to that, the specification of the cone sphere. Okay, so now the typical value, it is the radar cross section is 0.1 lambda square, so at S band. Okay, so and even at S band 0.1 meter for lambda of 0.1 meter is 10 power minus 3 meter square. So at S band this is a measured value of RCS, and at X band it is increasing. So why the frequency is increasing, so the wavelength will be decreased. So based on that wavelength, the RCS will be varied. So here you can see the RCS is, so it is going to reduce. Okay, so even the shape of the target also matters. So how, what type of the cone you are taking, or what is the half angle, or what is the base. So based on that, all those parameter of the shape of the cone or target, so then the RCS will be varied. So now this shaping of the target is good method for reducing the RCS cross section, that is radar cross section. So why means, so if you shape in such a way that the target will not reflect maximum energy, so then your RCS will going to reduce. Or even you can put on top of the target some materials, so that the energy will be absorbed or the energy will be reflected in some other direction, so that the RCS will going to reduce. So such one type of material which is called as carbon fiber composites. Okay, so if you include in any of the target whatever it is there, if you on top of that surface, if you coat this fiber composites, carbon fiber composites, or in any other type of metal which is in reflective in reflective in nature, that will be reflect in other direction which is not desired by the enemy. So that you have to take care while putting the fiber composites on the top of the whatever the target. Okay, or whatever the device which we are using. So that is also, and also some materials which will going to absorb the energy, so that the reflection will be minimum, and it will be going to reduce the RCS. So that type of materials also you can use to reduce the RCS. So these are the applications where most of the aerospace application and stealth applications will be used. So this type of materials which on top of the device, so that the RCS will be reduced, and the enemy person cannot able to detect the proper target of our device. So that is the intention. So to reduce the RCS, either you can shape in such a way that it will not give the maximum reflection. Also you can use other materials to absorb the energy, so that it can reduce the RCS. So these are the some of the types of methods we can able to use for reducing the RCS. So this is for the simple target. Now if you consider the complex targets which is big in nature and different size and different shape, so what will, how we can able to measure this RCS, and also how the range can be calculated, because the reflection it will happen in different parts of the complete system or complete target. So then how we can able to reduce the RCS, or how we can able to calculate the RCS and also the range. So coming to the complex targets, so this radar cross section of complex targets, like as I said, such as big targets like ships, aircrafts, or even cities. So in terrain, different kind of terrains are there, or buildings are there. So based on those, how we can able to predict whether the target is there or not, and also how to measure that RCS of that target. So this is the some of the complicated structures, so that So the with respect to frequency, even if the frequency variation is also there, the behavior of these type of targets will be different. So that will be, so we can calculate some using some methods like dividing the complete target into a individual separate targets or individual things. Say for example, if you take the ship, so it will be having the base, or on top of base some radar system will be there, or in something like other systems will be there. So those are all we can divide individually, and we can calculate individual RCS of the each and individual target, and we can add together, and finally we can get the RCS of the complete ship. So like that we can divide individually, and we can able to calculate the RCS of the complete target. That is one method. And even target cross sections may be computed with the aid of digital computers. So as I said, each the ship, if you take the complex target, you can divide individually, and you can get the data from individual targets, and you can sum up with the or integrate the complete RCS of all the targets. Then you can able to uh, compute so individually, and even in experimentally also. So you can particular part of the ship you can incident, and you can calculate, and you can even you can other parts of the ships you can incident, and you can calculate. Like that individually we can divide it complete target, and we can estimate. So if you come to experimental measurement of RCS, the target cross section can be measured with full scale targets, but it is more convenient to make cross section measurements on scale models at the proper scaled frequency. So as I said, these scale models means, so we need to divide the individual targets, individual complete target as individual things, and we have to scale accordingly whatever the frequency lambda we are dividing. Based on that lambda, we have to uh, incident the energy, and we have to get the reflections, and collectively we have to calculate that radar cross section. So this as I said, complex target, it is comprising of large number of independent objects, so that scattered energy in all direction. The energy scattered in the direction of target is of prime interest. That means, as I said, the complex target, it consists of individual independent objects, like whatever radar which is placed in the in the ship, and ship itself, it having more number of independent objects. So if you incident the energy with a particular object, and you have to collect the reflected energy, and we have to calculate individual RCS, and finally we can get the total RCS of the complex target. So now in while taking the individual RCS, you have to take the relative phases and amplitudes of the echo signal from individual scattering objects, and that measured scattering parameters are measured echo signal parameters at the radar receiver, so determine the total cross section. So this phase and amplitude of each and individual scattering objects is collected, and at the radar receiver, it will be, so integrate all the individual radar cross sections, and we can get the total cross section. So now if the separation between individual scattering object is large compared with the wavelength, then the phases of individual signals at the radar receiver will vary as the viewing aspect is changed, and causes scintillation echo. That means, so whenever you have so two individual, like you have some two individual objects, if you are measuring the RCS, okay. So now if the distance between these two, say for example some L, so if this distance, if it is varied with respect to the viewing angle, so that is whatever radar it is there here, okay, radar receiver, okay. So if this is a different viewing angle, and this is a different viewing angle, okay. So if the distance between these individual signals, if it is comparable with the wavelength of operation, that is frequency whatever you are transmitting, so then this viewing angle will change with respect to the target. And the scintillation echo means, so each and individual target, it will create some flash signal, so that it will uh, the echo signal will be, so it will be vary with respect to the whatever separation it is there with respect to other target. That means the scintillating echo means, so whenever you transmit the signal, so the whenever it is reflecting back, it will give the flash, some flash signal, so that it will having the different phase and amplitude whatever we computed. So that is because of this separation. So since it is the reflection, it is coming from this also and this also. So if the interference happens, if the two closed, the targets will be closed, so then it will give the scintillating echo. If this separation is fair enough to give the echo signal and this interference will be suppressed, so then it will be, so this problem will be resolved. So that's why, so this separation will be made in such a way that, so this problem will be solved. But in practical scenario, so we don't know whether the objects is near or far with respect to whatever frequency of operation we are doing. So that's why this problem will come. And so based on the variation of the pulse of the transmitted signal, so many a times we'll going to transmit and we will check whether it is this problem occurs or not, and we can resolve that based on the multiple transmission of the signal. So that is what the problem we can able to resolve. So now the consider the scattering from relatively simple complex target consisting of two equal and that means, so if you want to analyze the complex target, so if you, and you have to understand first how the complex target can be divided, and we can able to uh, get the RCS. So if you have this, if you say for example two spheres, okay, separated, so sphere we already computed the RCS. So that is very easy to compute because the radiated energy or the echo signal which is uniformly scattered in all the direction. So that's why you can get easily the echo signal from the sphere, and you can able to get the RCS. So now if the complex target, assume the complex target consists of two spheres, okay, which is separated by a distance some L. Okay, so now if you transmit the signal to these two sphere with different the range, okay, so say for example R1 and R2, something like that, from the the radar receiver. Okay, so then assume this, the two spheres which are separated by the distance L, which is considered as a complex target. So now in order to compute complete RCS of these two targets, so then what we need to do, so we need to take care of the separation, and we need to take care of the ranges and also the resolution. What is resolution? So that resolution we are already find out, that is C tau by 2. So how much distance separation we need to get such that the two targets completely resolved. Okay, so that resolution will be decided by this factor C tau by 2, where tau is the pulse duration of the signal. Okay, so now if you completely resolve these two targets, then we can able to get the RCS of that complete so scenario, which is consists of two spheres. Okay, so you can see here, so this is the sphere target, and both are separated by L, distance L. So now this is a range at the center point, and R1 R2 is the range of the two individual targets. So now this is the actual RCS, how it is measured with respect to the separation distance. Okay, so you can see here, so if the separation, if it is with respect to lambda, if you go on increasing, so now how the polar plot with this variation you can see. Okay, so this is the sigma r by sigma naught. So this actually it is given by this equation. So the cross section of two targets are assumed equal, so because the two spheres which are taken equal and equal size targets, and so that RCS we can designate it as sigma naught. Individual RCS we can designate it as sigma naught. So now the composite of these two targets, the complete total RCS we can designate it as sigma R. Okay, so now this ratio sigma r by sigma naught, so this is the equation. So now if you compute this sigma r by sigma naught with respect to different wavelengths, whatever wavelength of operation, so you can see as you increase the sigma r by sigma naught, it will going to increase if you increase the separation with respect to lambda. So if you have separation of lambda, so then the echo signal which will be having the reflection which is good enough to so detect the total RCS. And here you can see the multiple reflections are there, and here you can see so more multiple reflections are there. So it is difficult to predict the so that RCS of the two spheres. Okay, so it is gone increase like it is like the scattered energy is more here. So at every each and every angle you cannot able to measure, um, it is very difficult to measure the scattered energy so compared to here. So that's why, so if you go on increasing the separation, so that will be, so that will actually resolve the two targets, but it will give more time to estimate. Okay, so that's why the proper distance between two targets will be fixed with respect to so this range as well as the frequency of operation. So now this ratio sigma naught, so which is can be anything from a minimum of 0 to maximum of 4 times of the cross section of individual scatter. That means, so if you take this individual scatter as sigma naught, so then this ratio may be either 0 or maximum 4 times of the individual targets. So that will be the range we will going to get, so if you take this scenario. Okay, and also the restriction is that so L is it is small compared to the range, because generally the range will be more with respect to radar receiver. So this L should be very much small compared to the range of the two targets from the receiver, that is radar receiver. So now this we can see a simple aircraft which is placed on a turntable. Okay, so if you place whatever you want to measure the RCS, you place the target in a table and you can incident the energy, and we can estimate the RCS. So this is one scenario where the ship is placed on turntable and a simple nearby radar which is incidenting the energy, and how the RCS with a different angle of incidence it is giving the energy, reflected energy, or this by using this echo signal how we can able to uh, detect the RCS of this target. So you can see here this is experimental cross section of this is a B-26 two engine bomber, so which is having 10 centimeter wavelength as a function of the azimuthal angle. So there is no elevation angle, it is shown with respect to azimuthal angle. So this is measured that RCS, that cross section of the cross section which is showing here, experimental cross section. The RCS variation here it is shown. Okay, so different universities which is measured like Michigan, University of Michigan and University of Ohio State University, they have measured data which is giving the RCS with respect to the azimuthal angle at a different angle. So what is the RCS of this so aircraft or ship? Okay, so example as I told, so as I told, this is a propeller driven aircraft. So this aircraft is a P-26 and this is medium range two engine bomber. So the radar wavelength was 10 centimeter which is used. Okay, so with this scenario, so this is the RCS which we can see how it will be varied with respect to azimuthal plane. So this is a variation of radar cross section with the azimuthal plane. So where, so you can see here the peak due to the profiling edge of the wing. So while measuring the RCS, the profiling wing it is running. So if it is running it will give different RCS, and if it is static it will give different RCS. And this is peak due to uh, the fuselage. So and different parts of the ships, how the RCS it is varying, we can see here. Okay, so different, if you incident at this position it will be different, and if you incident at the back side it will be different, like that. So this graph shows the RCS variation of this ship. Okay, so now how this will be actually seen in the on top of the turntable. You can see here one picture I have shown. So this is complete chamber, that is anechoic chamber we can call it as. So in that anechoic chamber there will be a different transmitter and receiver. So you can see here, so this is only just we can see the target within the chamber, and these are all the reflector antennas where it will going to reflect the energy to this, and whatever reflected by this the our received signal or echo signal which is received by this reflector, that will be again received by this receive antennas. Okay, so you can see this is, we can consider it as a target as like aircraft. Here another device which is placed, which is kind of a checkerboard antenna. So this we can estimate the RCS of this. Okay, as like this aircraft. So assume that aircraft is there here, and it will reflect here, and you can get the energy here. Because so directly if you transmit and receive, so this antenna will not be maximum gain is there, and also at different angles we cannot able to receive. So this we can so rotate this reflector, and we can get the different angle of incidence, and we can able to get the RCS. So, and also this is in the flight mode, that is at the some, as like in the practical scenario we have to put the aircraft in the some height with respect to ground, and we have to estimate the RCS of that device. Okay, so this is one of the scenario which we can see here to measure how we can measure the RCS of the device or aircraft or any device which we can place. So, and this in turn this transmitter and receiver which is connected to the VNA, and they can measure the transmit and receive power. Based on that they can calculate the RCS of this device. And these are all the absorbers which are used. And because in practical scenario it will be environmental effects will be there, ground reflections will be there, all these things will be there. So without those reflections, if you want to measure complete characterization of the device, so these absorbers will be used. So it will not reflect back the energy when the energy which is coming to near to it, it will going to absorb, it won't reflect back. So since it is not reflecting back, it won't affect the characterization of this device. Okay, so this is about the how practically they will that means without any environmental conditions how they will going to measure this, either in even in anechoic chamber. So how they will measure the RCS of the device. Okay, so now the cross section can change by as much as 15 dB for change in aspect of only 1/3 of the degree. That means if your viewing angle, if you change 1/3 of the degree with respect to either azimuthal or elevation plane, so then you can able to um, change in the, that is there is a change in the radar cross section even as much as 15 dB. Okay, and the maximum echo signal occurs in the vicinity of the broadside where the projected area of aircraft is larger. That means, so if you have, so broadside means exactly perpendicular to it. So if say for example aircraft is there here, so if you incident perpendicular to this exactly, so then it will be, you can see the broadside pattern or end fire pattern. So you might have heard that one. Broadside means exactly perpendicular to the device which is going to incident. Okay, now if you incident broadside, exactly broadside of the aircraft, so exactly like perpendicular to this, that is into the paper or into the PPT, if you put the incident signal exactly broadside, so then the signal which is echo signal which occurs, it will be the maximum. Okay, and measurements can be obtained not only by mounting on turntable, also with the scale models on pattern range. So again different patterns you can use like pencil beam or fan beam. So pencil beam means only the directive antennas you can put at a particular position or direction, or fan beam you can put a particular angle or particular the beam width in one dimension will be different, and beam width in the other dimension will be different. So that type of pattern, different pattern range and scale models we can use to measure uh, the RCS of the device or aircraft. Okay. The radar cross section of an aircraft can also be obtained by computation. So first we generally use the radar equation and consider all other parameters, and we can obtain the RCS of the aircraft also by using computation, and even practically we can measure and we can compare both, and we can see how much deviation it is there. Then according to that computation, so we can try to get approximately the practical RCS equal to the theoretical value. So this again, the aircraft which I said it is a big target, we can divide it into a number of simple geometrical target or geometrical shapes, and we can estimate individual radar cross section, and we can estimate the total cross section by integrating all those RCSs. Okay. So this aircraft, as I said, so we can take a simple wing itself one individual target, or backside profiling engine you can take as an individual target, and you can see here. So these wings and you can, this and all you can take individual targets, and the profiling engine you can take individual, and the nose which is same as the cone sphere, so that you can take as individual target, and all those you can individually you can compute, and you can get the total RCS of the aircraft. The most realistic method for obtaining the radar cross section of aircraft is to measure the actual target in flight. That is what. So complete, if you directly measure, if you want to measure the practically how the actual aircraft it is going, with respect to that, if you want to measure, you can put like this in the flight kind of thing, and you can, as I said, you can turn this reflector into a different angles, so that different angles echo signal you can take, and you can compute the total RCS in the flight scenario. Okay, so that's how we can compute the RCS of aircrafts or ships. So aircraft or ship in the flight scenario. So that will be more convenient and more near to the practical scenario. Okay. So now this you can see the example of different types of the radar cross section at micro frequencies. So the missile which is having 0.5 square meter, so, and small engine aircraft which is having RCS of 1 meter square, and different types of targets they are individually they are taking, and they can measure the RCS of the individual target. Simple, you can see small open boat which is having 0.02 meter square, and cabin cruiser. So different types of, so the targets, individual targets, they are measuring the RCS. So you can see bird which is having 0.01 meter square, insect which is having 10 power minus 5 meter square. So that is a different RCS of different the things or targets, so which is given. So and also the radar cross section of an aircraft is difficult to specify concisely, because different scenarios it is there in the aircraft, because this may not be give perfectly because of the edges, and also in the cone we cannot able to properly measure the echo signal. With respect to different viewing angle, it will give different RCS. So that's why we cannot able to exactly specify concisely, but measuring the multiple times echo signal and with multiple viewing aspects with respect to frequency, so we can at least estimate nearer to the RCS of the whatever computed. So that's why it is somewhat difficult to measure the aircraft RCS. So for that we require multiple transmissions and also multiple viewing angles. So as I said, the military propelled aircraft which is shown here, so which is having a 100 meter square radar cross section at VHF and 20 meter square at L band. So with respect to frequency, again this RCS will going to vary. So at different frequency bands, so based on the transmitted signal, it will going to vary. So the longer wavelength at UHF results in greater radar cross section. You can see here at VHF it is greater compared to L band. Okay, so because the dimension as the frequency varies, the lambda varies. Because of that lambda, the scattering objects which is either comparable to wavelength, or it is the object itself less than the wavelength, or it is greater than the wavelength. So based on that, it will produce a different resonance effect. So because of that resonance effects, it will give different RCS values. Okay, so that is the one of the important point here to note down. So with respect to frequency, definitely the wavelength varies, and the wavelength which will be based on the target size, so it will vary. The target size based on the wavelength, it will vary, and it will give different RCS. Okay, so and you can see here, so for a large ship, so this is one of the scenario to measure the radar cross section of a large ship which is having 16,000 tons. So this is the ship which is taken, and with the grazing incidence, so at exactly the perpendicular to the ship. Grazing means, so say for example, if the ship is going on the sea, if you incident on top surface of the sea, that is a grazing incident. So that incidence you will they are measuring the radar cross section, and this is a equation which is used to estimate the RCS, where F is the frequency and sigma is the radar cross section, and D is the displacement, whatever the ship it is moving, displaced from one place to other place in kiloton. Okay, so by estimating this, by using this equation, you can estimate the RCS of the ship. Okay, so this you can see the different polarization they are measuring the RCS, because the incident signal in which polarization, that is also important. Say for example, if you are viewing in the or transmitting signal in the horizontal polarization, and if the echo signal is if it is in the vertical polarization, then you won't receive any signal. Okay, so that's why the different polarizations techniques also they will use, and they will estimate the RCS. So that is a very important, the polarization aspect. And if it is not properly with respect to polarization, and if you are not predicted a proper polarization of the signal, and if you don't receive the proper polarization of the signal, then you cannot able to get the proper RCS of the target. Okay, so that you might have studied what is a polarization and all. So with respect to different polarization, and also sometimes they will use circular polarization, because it will be in the circular nature, both vertical and horizontal components will be there. At least minimum 50% of the power you will going to receive at the receiver side. So that's why, so most of the even radar system, or even military systems, they will use the circularly polarized antennas for transmitting and receiving. So that will be very much advantage it is there, so that's why they will use. Okay, so this is about the radar cross section of aircraft, and so some complex targets like aircraft and ship and all. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll continue. Okay, any doubt in this? Hello, anybody? Understood?